over to introducing you as these Jedi.
So depending on who you ask, this will vary because we all carry a lot of different competencies. But in my case, I'm doing my studies in industrial engineering and majoring in sustainable power generation. So for me, being here, I have a lot of good insights in how the energy market works, how the market trends on the market is going right now, and also know a little bit about blockchain, but on the business side, so I can contribute with that, I would say. Do you want to add?
And for me, I'm working as a business developer at Vattenfall, which is one of the largest energy companies in Europe, and I'm supervising the thesis that Charlotta is working on, and providing the teams with help testing their business model, but also testing their application for blockchain, providing the energy sector's perspective.
As a business developer, I guess that you're more in the technical side of the application. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm in between. I'm both, because I'm an engineer from the beginning and a strategy analyst and also a business developer. So I can help them with the overall general picture, but also how is the actual technology working in combination with our current energy system.
What are problems that you've seen so far in your track? Maybe recurring themes, for example?
I think that one thing that, I think that all of the teams are really working really hard and listening and asking the right questions. I think one thing is what kind of value am I delivering to the customer, and keeping the customer focused. That's always a challenge. And understanding, what is the value proposition? What kind of assumptions am I making right now, and how can I validate them, and how can I use my solution to solve that problem.
So that's actually making the right connection to the customer, in short.
Yeah.
I think you'd like to add something?
No, but not so much on the technical part, because a lot of the teams here, they have pretty good idea of what they want to do in technical terms, but to translate that and to actually turn it into a long-term strategy that the customer will actually understand. And so mainly actually what we're doing, besides giving them some insight in how it actually works on the energy market, because not all of them have this insight. Maybe they have more like a software engineering background, for example, or more like just code-based.
Other Jedis, you mean?
Jedis and also the teams. Mostly I'm talking about the teams. So for us, it's more about like making them frame their solution in more like general terms, how it's more understandable, how would the customer perceive this. So I think our job is mostly to ask like the questions, and they have to figure out how to answer them, and then they really expand like, oh, we thought about this, but now when you're actually saying this way, we have to frame it in another way so we can get out with our message, whatever we would say.
So get them to think very concretely about a solution and what problem they're addressing with that solution.
Very much focusing on the problem, I would say, and
sorry.
Yeah, and helping them see the added value. What other problems am I solving? What other, developing. They have gotten a hackathon impact canvas to fill in. So we go there and we ask questions about the canvas, help them think outside of the box. Maybe they're really focused on their solution and not, and then you can give them another perspective of, you're actually also solving this problem. So you can add that to your canvas, for example.
Oh, that's an interesting one. So maybe they're doing more than they realize themselves already.
Yeah, the impact is massive of some of the ideas.
Of all the teams that you've seen so far, is there anything that really stands out to you both?
This is hard, really hard question to answer, because what stands out is the grit and the passion from all of the teams and how they are really handling this setting. But having seen so many different use cases of blockchain, I think what's really interesting to see is some working prototypes to see how it's going to be involved, and also if you have when you have one team, for example, including the customer into the process. For example, there's an idea of crowdfunding a windmill in a community, and then part of that, the actor from the community is there saying we want to own part of this windmill if it's going to be close to our home. This is quite interesting. How can you create a token for that? For the future.
All right. How's that going? How's that project actually coming along now?
It seems to be going well. They are working on the case. It's quite complex, we've been following them the entire way. But we have a few ones that we are following quite closely. So this is not the only one, but I think that they seem to be coming along quite good, and they have good teamwork. Yeah.
And with I guess 15 hours to go still, more towards 20. There's also still a lot of work that can be done, right, until tomorrow. Yeah. Anything in particular you hope for tomorrow?
I can say. So you asked the question before if you think you've seen something really new. I think in some way the teams are in some way limited to the challenges that was posted prior to this hackathon. In the energy track, at least, it was very clear what they wanted to get solved. Mm-hmm. So I think, they will really solve this new challenge of GDPR. I think that's really, really great.
The EU regulation that will come into play the 28th of May.
Exactly. Yeah. And but also, like, with this in place, I think, because we've been having a lot of discussions with the teams, like, how much is your data value? Because a lot of people might not see that as a really valuable thing. Like, who else? Someone can get my data. I don't really care about it. But with the solutions they're creating, they're really putting a price on your privacy and your data, and that's a shift in how people are thinking, and that's really something that I've been thinking about more this weekend, and I really, really appreciate that. But what we also seen in another track that is quite connected to energy as well is in the machine-to-machine track, and they are not so framed in the same way as the other tracks because they have a little bit different framework, and I think they can have more like wild ideas. So what they're doing, and what I really like is that they're simulating an ecosystem. And trying to optimize the ecosystem with the people, with the cars, with the windmills or the solar panels, to really optimize the streamlining the whole ecosystem and how they can do that. And that's, like, for me, that's really wild. I think I really like this idea.
So again, I think I've heard it a lot of times already this weekend, but it's the big ideas are the ones that, I don't know, inspire the most, at least. Yeah. Though I guess you have to start by creating a small solution, no? Because the M2M, the machine-to-machine economy track is also one where I think they have quite some trouble defining that small piece of application that they can build right now, because an ecosystem is immense.
Yeah, and that's also what we see in the different applications. So some people are really focusing on one small problem, and for these people we're trying to help, like, how could you add more value to your proposition? And in some cases it's more like you're thinking very wide now. Maybe you should try to, it's great that you're thinking wide, but maybe you should try to
narrow down
for your 100-day plan, maybe you should focus on this, focus on how will you spread your service or product in this in a network, because as you know, like all the applications with blockchain is very dependent on network effects. So for these people you have to more narrow down, and for some people it's the other way around. So that's interesting as well.
A last remark, I believe.
Yeah, I would say exactly, like, keeping the vision in mind, and this idea of us co-creating the future and changing the world. You have to have that in mind, but then prove it in a certain, like, a small way to show that this part can be done in this way. And when we have figured out how we can do this part, then we will be able to achieve the vision that is, like, up here. So exactly like Charlotta said, that for some teams we're helping them to understand what kind of role their specific solution is playing in the big picture, and for some people we are saying, like, okay, you're in this big picture, so prove it in this way. Like,
It sounds like a nice summary of what's going on right now, also in the energy track, but also, I guess, over the whole floor. People who want to know more about the energy track, please go to blockchangers.org, because there's more articles from our track reporters. I would like to thank you both for joining us at the table, and we will be moving on. My colleague Ronald Mulder will take over from me, and I'll be seeing you live from the grid again soon.